necessitated what is peculiar in their machinery. I never attempted great elaboration of detail in the working out of character within such limits, believing that it could not succeed. My purpose was, in a whimsical kind of mask, which the good humour of the season justified, to awaken some loving and forbearing thoughts, never out of season in a Christian land. I have the happiness of believing that I did not wholly miss it. London, September 1852. The Chimes, first quarter. There are not many people, and as it is desirable that a storyteller and a story reader should establish a mutual understanding as soon as possible, I beg it to be noticed that I confine this observation neither to young people nor to little people, but extend it to all conditions of people, little and big, young and old, yet growing up or already growing down again. There are not, I say, many people who would care to sleep in a church. I don't mean at sermon time, in warm weather, when the thing has actually been done once or twice, but in the night and alone. A great multitude of persons will be violently astonished, I know, by this position in the broad, bold day. But it applies to night. It must be argued by night, and I will undertake to maintain it successfully on any gusty winter's night, appointed for the purpose, with any one opponent chosen from the rest, who will meet me singly in an old churchyard before an old church door, and will previously empower me to lock him in, if needful to his satisfaction, until morning. For the night wind has a dismal trick of wandering round and round a building of that sort, and moaning as it goes, and of trying with its unseen hand the windows and the doors, and seeking out some crevices by which to enter. And when it has got in, as one not finding what it seeks, whatever that might be, it wails and howls to issue forth again, and not content with stalking through the aisles, and gliding round and round the pillars, and tempting the deep organ, soars up to the roof, and strives to rend the rafters, then flings itself despairingly upon the stones below, and passes muttering into the vaults. Anon it comes up stealthily, and creeps along the walls, seeming to read in whispers the inscriptions sacred to the dead. At some of these it breaks out shrilly as with laughter, and at others moans and cries as if it were lamenting. It has a ghostly sound too, lingering within the altar, where it seems to chant, in its wild way, of wrong and murder done, and false gods worshipped in defiance of the tables of the law, which look so fair and smooth, but are so flawed and broken. Heaven preserve us! Sitting snugly round the fire, it has an awful voice, that wind at midnight. unaccustomed tread, and birds stuff shabby nests into corners of old oaken joists and beams, and dust grows old and grey, and speckled spiders, indolent and fat with long security, swing idly to and fro in the vibration of the bells, and never lose their hold upon their thread-spun castles in the air, or climb up sailor-like in quick alarm, or drop upon the ground and ply a score of nimble legs to save one life. High up in the steeple of an old church, far above the light and murmur of the town, and far below the flying clouds that shadow it, is the wild and dreary place at night, and high up in the steeple of an old church dwelt the Chimes I tell of. They were old chimes, trust me. Centuries ago, these bells had been baptized by bishops, so many centuries ago that the register of their baptism was long lost, long before the memory of man, and no one knew their names. They had had their godfathers and godmothers, these bells. For my own part, by the way, I would rather incur the responsibility of being godfather to a bell than a boy, and had their silver mugs, no doubt, besides, but time had moved down their sponsors, and Henry VIII had melted down their mugs, and they now hung nameless and mugless in the church tower. Not speechless, though, far from it. They had clear, loud, lusty-sounding voices, had these bells, and far and wide they might be heard upon the wind. Much too sturdy chimes were they, to be dependent on the pleasure of the wind, moreover, for fighting gallantly against it. When it took an adverse whim, they would pour their cheerful notes into a listening ear right royally, and bent on being heard on stormy nights by some poor mother watching a sick child, or some lone wife whose husband was at sea. They had been sometimes known to beat a blustering nor'wester, aye, all to fits, as Toby Vex said, but though they chose to call him Trotty Vex, his name was Toby, and nobody could make it anything else either, except Tobias, without a special act of Parliament, he having been as lawfully christened in his day as the bells had been in theirs, though with not quite so much of solemnity or public rejoicing. For my part, I confess myself of Toby Vex's belief, for I am sure he had opportunities enough of forming a correct one, and whatever Toby Vex said, I say, and I take my stand by Toby Vex, although he did stand all day long, and weary work it was, just outside the church door. In fact, he was the ticket porter, Toby Vex, and waited there for jobs. And a breezy, goose-skinned, blue-nosed, red-eyed, stony-toed, tooth-chattering place it was to wait in the winter-time, as Toby Vex well knew. The wind came tearing round the corner, especially the east wind, as if it had sallied forth, express from the confines of the earth, to have a blow at Toby, and oftentimes it seemed to come upon him sooner than it had expected, for bouncing round the corner and passing Toby, it would suddenly wheel around again as if it cried, "Why, here he is!" Chimes themselves. Toby was not a casuist, that he knew of at least, and I don't mean to say that when he began to take to the bells and to knit up his first rough acquaintance with them into something of a closer and more delicate woof, he passed through these considerations one by one, or held any formal review or great field day in his thoughts. But what I mean to say, and do say, that as the functions of Toby's body, his digestive organs, for example, did of their own cunning, and by a great many operations of which he was altogether ignorant, and the knowledge of which would have astonished him very much, arrive at a certain end, so his mental faculties, without his privity or concurrence, set all these wheels and springs in motion, with 1,000 others, when they worked to bring about his liking for the bells. And though I have said his love, I would not have recalled the word, though he would scarcely have expressed his complicated feeling. For being but a simpler man, he invested them with a strange and solemn character. They were so mysterious, often heard and never seen, so high up, so far off, so full of such a deep, strong melody, that he regarded them with a species of awe, and sometimes when he looked up at the dark arched windows in the tower, he half expected to be beckoned to by something which was not a bell, and yet was what he had heard so often sounding in the chimes. For all this, Toby scouted with indignation a certain flying rumour that the chimes were haunted, as implying the possibility of their being connected with any evil thing. In short, they were very often in his ears, and very often in his thoughts, but always in his good opinion, and he very often got such a crick in his neck by staring with his mouth wide open at the steeple where they hung, that he was fain to take an extra trot or two afterwards to cure it. The very thing he was in the act of doing one cold day, when the last drowsy sound of 12 o'clock just struck, was humming like a melodious monster of a bee, and not by any means a busy bee, all through the steeple. "Dinner time, eh?" said Toby, trotting up and down before the church. "Ah." Toby's nose was very red, and his eyelids were very red, and he winked very much, and his shoulders were very near his ears, and his legs were very stiff, and altogether he was evidently a long way upon the frosty side of cool. "Dinner time, eh?" repeated Toby, using his right hand muffler like an infantine boxing glove, and punishing his chest for being cold. "Ah." He took a silent trot after that for a minute or two. "There's nothing," said Toby, breaking forth afresh. But here he stopped short in his trot, and with a face of great interest and some alarm, felt his nose carefully all the way up. It was but a little way, not being much of a nose, and he had soon finished. "I thought it was gone," said Toby, trotting off again. "It's all right, however. I am sure I couldn't blame it, if it was to go. It has a precious hard service of it in the bitter weather, and precious little to look forward to, for I don't take snuff myself. It's a good deal tried. Poor creature, at the best of times, for when it does get hold of a pleasant whiff or so, which ain't too often, it's generally from somebody else's dinner, a-coming home from the baker's." The reflection reminded him of that other reflection, which he had left unfinished. "There's nothing," said Toby, "more regular in its coming round than dinner time, observations as it is, and so's the Parliament. Here's last week's paper now, taking a very dirty one from his pocket and holding it from him at arm's length, full of observations. I like to know the news as well as any man, said Toby slowly, folding it a little smaller and putting it in his pocket again. But it almost goes against the grain with me to read a paper now. It frightens me almost. I don't know what we poor people are coming to. Lord, send we may be coming to something better in the new year, nigh upon us. Why, father, father, said a pleasant voice hard by. But Toby, not hearing it, continued to trot backwards and forwards, musings as he went and talking to himself. It seems as if we can't go right or do right or be righted, said Toby. I hadn't much schooling myself when I was young, and I can't make out whether we have any business on the face of the earth or not. Sometimes I think we must have a little, and sometimes I think we must be intruding. I get so puzzled sometimes that I am not able to make up my mind whether there is any good at all in us, or whether we are born bad. must guess what it is. I can't think of taking it out till you guess what it is. Don't be in such a hurry. Wait a minute. A little more of the cover. Now guess. Meg was in a perfect fright lest he should guess right too soon, shrinking away as she held the basket towards him, curling up her pretty shoulders, stopping her ear with her hand as if by so doing she could keep the right word out of Toby's lips, and laughing softly the whole time. Meanwhile, Toby, putting a hand on each knee, bent down his nose to the basket and took a long inspiration at the lid, the grin upon his withered face expanding in the process as if he were inhaling laughing gas. "Ah, it's very nice," said Toby. "It ain't, I suppose it ain't, Polonaise?" "No, no, no," cried Meg, delighted. "Nothing like Polonaise." "No," said Toby, after another sniff. It's mellower than Polonaise. It's very nice. It improves every moment. It's too decided for trotters, ain't it?" Meg was in an ecstasy. He could not have gone wider of the mark than trotters, except Polonaise. "Liver," said Toby, communing with himself. "No, there's a mildness about it that don't answer to liver." "Potatoes." "No, it ain't faint enough for potatoes. It wants the stringiness of cock's heads, and I know it ain't sausages. I'll tell you what, it's chitterlings." "No, it ain't," cried Meg in a burst of delight. "No, it ain't." "Why, what am I a-thinking of?" said Toby suddenly, recovering a position as near the perpendicular as it was possible for him to assume. "I shall forget my own name next. It's tripe." Tripe it was, and Meg, in high joy, protested he should say, in half a minute more, it was the very best tripe ever stewed. "And so," said Meg, busying herself exultingly with the basket, "I'll lay the cloth at once, father, for I have brought the tripe in a basin, and tied the basin up in a pocket handkerchief, and if I like to be proud for once, and spread that for a cloth, I'll call it a cloth. There's no law to prevent me, is there, father?" "Not that I know of, my dear," said Toby, "but they're always bringing up some new law or other. And according to what I was reading you in the paper the other day, father, what the judge said, you know, we poor people are supposed to know them all. Ha ha! What a mistake! My goodness me, how clever they think us." "Yes, my dear," cried Trotty, "and they'd be very fond of any one of us that did know 'em all. He'd grow fat upon the work he'd get, that man, and be popular with the gentlefolks in his neighbourhood, very much so. He'd eat his dinner with an appetite, whoever he was, if it smelt like this," said Meg cheerfully. "Make haste, for there's a hot potato besides, and half a pint of fresh drawn beer," touch of sadness in her pleasant voice. Always, answered the unconscious Toby, never fails. While this discourse was holding, Trotty made no pause in his attack upon the savoury meat before him, but cut and ate and cut and drank and cut and chewed and dodged about, from tripe to hot potato and from hot potato back again to tripe, with an unctuous and unflagging relish, but happening now to look all round the street in case anybody should be beckoning from any door or window for a porter. His eyes, in coming back again, encountered Meg, sitting opposite to him with her arms folded, and only busy in watching his progress with a smile of happiness. "Why, Lord forgive me," said Trotty, dropping his knife and fork. "My dove, Meg, why didn't you tell me what a beast I was?" "Father." "Sitting here," said Trotty, in penitent explanation, "cramming and stuffing and gorging myself, and you before me there, never so much as breaking your precious fast, nor when wanting to. When?" "But I have broken it, father," interposed his daughter, laughing. "All to bits. I have had my dinner." "Nonsense," said Trotty. "2 dinners in one day. It ain't possible. You might as well tell me that 2 New Year's days will come together, or that I have had a gold head all my life, and never changed it." "I have had my dinner, father, for all that," said Meg, coming nearer to him, "and if you'll go on with yours, I'll tell you how and where, and how your dinner came to be bought, and something else besides." Toby still appeared incredulous, but she looked into his face with her clear eyes, and laying her hand upon his shoulder, motioned him to go on while the meat was hot. So Trotty took up his knife and fork again and went to work, but much more slowly than before, and shaking his head as if he were not at all pleased with himself. "I had my dinner, father," said Meg, after a little hesitation, with Richard. His dinner time was early, and as he brought his dinner with him when he came to see me, we had it together, father." Trotty took a little beer and smacked his lips. Then he said, "Oh, because you waited." "And Richard says, father," Meg resumed, then stopped. "What does Richard say, Meg?" asked Toby. "Richard says, father." Another stoppage. "Richard's a long time saying it," said Toby. "He says then, father," Meg continued, lifting up her eyes at last and speaking in a tremble, but quite plainly, "another year is nearly gone, and where is the use of waiting on from year to year, when it is so unlikely we shall ever be better off than we are now? He says we are poor now, father, and we shall be poor then, but we are young now, and years will make us old before we know it. said so much, and said it in his way so strong and earnest, and all the time so kind and gentle, that I said I'd come and talk to you, Father. And as they paid the money for that work of mine this morning, unexpectedly, I am sure, and as you have fared very poorly for a whole week, and as I couldn't help wishing there should be something to make this day a sort of holiday to you as well as a dear and happy day to me, Father, I made a little treat and brought it to surprise you. And see how he leaves it cooling on the step, said another voice. It was the voice of this same Richard, who had come upon them unobserved, and stood before the father and daughter, looking down upon them with a face as glowing as the iron, on which his stout sledge-hammer daily rung. A handsome, well-made, powerful youngster he was, with eyes that sparkled like the red-hot droppings from a furnace fire, black hair that curled about his swarthy temples rarely, and a smile